Well, maybe we can get started then. It's 12:07 here in the States. So just to thank everybody for coming on and joining us on a Sunday, particularly people from outside the States where it's very, very late. Shahid in Bangladesh, Manu in India. I mean, it's late at night for you guys. So thank you so much for joining us, and Africa as well. We really appreciate it. The purpose of this get-together is twofold. First of all, to thank everybody who's been part of our COVID embroidery storytelling project, and to explain how that fits into the larger work that we at the Advocacy Project do with embroidery. And secondly, to make some personal connections, particularly between artists who told their stories in the South and quilters here in the States who helped to assemble their stories into these amazing quilts. I'll be joined by, I'm Ian from the Advocacy Project, and I'll be joined by Bobby, who manages our embroidery work, and she's sitting in front of one of the quilts that we'll be talking about. Just let me let Janice in. So we're going to do this together. We would like to get some feedback from you guys, and we may just come in and make a connection and call on you, but we're not going to go around the list. For everyone to explain what they've been doing and how they're connected to us. That would take too long. But I have got a presentation which I am going to share with you now, and we will use this to, let's have a look here, slideshow from the beginning. We will use this to as a basis for our discussion, and hopefully I'm going to have to kind of keep popping back in and out as more people join the call. But we thought we'd use this as the sort of structure. It will describe the work we do and how the COVID stories fit into that. And then please feel free to jump in at any time. It might be best if you stay muted until you join the conversation. Okay, let's kick off then. As most of you know, we have been supporting a COVID storytelling project ever since the pandemic began. And this event today is part of a series of events in this program. All of the stories have been collected, assembled into quilts. They are now being shown, and we wanted to take this opportunity to meet you all and show you how your work is being used as part of this project. It is, sorry guys, I'm just trying to admit people here. Agnes from Kibera in Kenya, and Rachel from Kangemi. So I'm going to have to be dexterous here, which is a little bit difficult for me. So the stories are sad, no question about it. And most of the stories that we have received from you all have been very somber and bleak. You can see this picture on the left, taken from training in Nairobi. But at the same time, I think there are many positive messages here. And you see on the right, our friends in Nepal, Prabal, you know these people very well, helping each other. And I think this presentation will show how embroidery and storytelling can empower women in particular, and provide a form of therapy to women who are under a lot of pressure. And so there's a very positive message, I think, coming out of this. On this call, we have registered 17 artists from Nairobi who made stories, 7 additional artists who have described the problem of albinism through embroidery, also from Nairobi. We have 11 US quilters who have helped with the project to assemble quilts. We have 11 friends who are connected to us, and we're delighted to see them. And all in all, we come from 8 different countries, which is kind of cool. Now, not everybody is on this call at the moment, but hopefully people will arrive. These are people who've registered. We will take a recording of this presentation and make that available to people who can't attend or who would like it. So let's start with this core idea of using embroidery as a storytelling tool. We at the Advocacy Project have been doing this for several years, since 2007, in fact. And we have many, many quilts which tell stories, powerful stories, first-hand accounts. These 7 stories were made by friends of ours in Nairobi who have children with albinism, and they describe some of the pressure and discrimination against these families. Now, we do have some people attending this call. Stella, would you like to just describe this, because you're coordinating Shield of Faith and these are your close friends? And then we can maybe call on people later on.
Yes, hi everyone again. So this particular project featured some of the challenges that that women have gone through, and they're very personal stories to each and every one of them, and basically it just tells the daily struggles and how these women have had to overcome to get to where they are. So it was it was a very personal project for us, and we had a wonderful time really expressing some of the issues that the women have gone through, raising their children as single mothers, raising their children in difficult situations, under a lot of pressure. Right. But it was quite an experience that we all learned from.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stella. Now, this central picture here is was made by Esther, I think, Esther Wambui. Is Esther on this call? I don't know whether she certainly signed up for it. If she is, maybe she could jump in, but it's rather a shocking story. It describes how her baby was born with albinism and how a nurse approached her in the hospital asking to buy the baby because people with albinism it's all part of a superstition, which is very, very dangerous and very damaging. And I think we have a quilter with us who assembled the albinism quilt, Peg Sullivan. Is Peg on the call? She certainly registered for this. Bobby, do you see Peg on the list by any chance? Perhaps not. Perhaps Peg can join us later.
Not yet.
Okay, not yet. Good. I just see Jill.
I don't see her. I would like to say something about this quilt as well. I often speak to groups and show the quilts, the work that the quilters and the artists have done. And this albinism quilt in particular has been very, very impactful as the stories are told. As with many of our quilts, the first thing people see is the beauty of the embroidery, and then they begin investigating, what is this story telling me? And it's often a surprise for some of them. But this one in particular has been very impactful because of the images that we see here. So thank you for your work.
And it is very nice that we have so many families that are continue to work with us through Stella's project, which we'll talk about in a little moment. Okay, now, so along comes the pandemic, and it goes without saying that this is an enormously important story that needs to get told. And from the very beginning, we wanted to see how it was affecting individuals, particularly those in the countries where we work and from the partner organizations that we work with. And I think the main theme that comes out of these stories, without any shadow of doubt, is that this was a very, very scary time for everyone in the North and in the South. And this is reflected in the stories. So over here, we see Stella. One of her stories from Nairobi is about a COVID victim being buried alone. We have the same theme up here in Nepal. Prabal, you'll remember this, the picture by Kushma. It shows an aging couple, one of them very sick, while a bulldozer is shoveling bodies into a pit. Family members were not allowed to attend burials of COVID victims, which was really very, very upsetting. We have a similar story down here from northern Uganda. And I think, Victoria, you're on the call as well. This comes from Konsi Alam, who's describing the burial of her aunt. And up here, we have Rosemary. Hi, Rosemary, from Zimbabwe. Hello, nice to see you. And this is Rosemary's story. Rosemary, can you tell us what your story was about? We've got this splendid picture of you up here. What's your story about, the one that you're holding?
All right, I'm not.
Okay, well, you get yourself organized, Rosemary. I'll just describe it briefly. This is what it was like to be locked down in Zimbabwe, in the townships of Zimbabwe during the pandemic. And this story shows a policeman preventing women with bringing water into the settlement. It was very rigorously enforced. And down here on the right, we have Kate Landman from a high school here in Washington, who was one of 9 students who described COVID. And these two groups in Zimbabwe and Arlington have worked together. They've become quite good friends during this project. The stories from the States, however, are much more about the sort of psychological impact of COVID, how it interfered with school life and social life, much less dramatic and much less violent than the stories from Rosemary and others in Africa. So let's move on here. We have a splendid couple of quilts from Bangladesh, where we're lucky enough to work with a group called the River Gypsies. Now, Donna, you're on this call, I think, are you not? Donna, ring the bell from Donna.
Yes.
Great, okay. And you assembled this quilt, I think, didn't you? Or you assembled one of the 2 Bangladesh quilts.
Yeah, my sister and I did. We live together, so we're just on one iPad. So my sister's here too, and we work together to put it together.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, we also have Shahid on this call, who runs the organization in Bangladesh that coordinated this project. Shahid, can you join us? Are you there?
Yeah, sure.
Great.
Thank you very much, Ian, and Bobby, Abby, and all of you. And it is a great opportunity and great. I'm really happy to meet all of you from different parts of the world. It's like a mini world: Asia, America, Africa, and many more countries. Thanks to all of you. Actually, this during the COVID situation, that is a horrible situation in Bangladesh. It was like all over the world, and at the time, with the help of Advocacy Project, we organized this quilt training and workshop, and 20 of the women from Mayadip. It's an island surrounded by Meghna River, big river, is an isolated place. And we had almost 1 week program. Twice we had workshop and the meeting and discussions and what types of picture they will, do the embroidery in the quilt. So it was been discussed, and it was a great experience for all of us. It was a great experience for all of us. Like all the artists, they shared their grievances, their sorrowness, and their struggle during the COVID situation. And they, they share many stories. And from the stories, they started, they draw these, all the ideas, and they started embroider all of these things. And, another thing is...
Sorry, Shahid, carry on, sorry.
Another thing is we are really grateful to Advocacy Project that at the time, the money, the support they've given for the artists, it was really great. It was really very good help at the time, because at the time it was, situation was so poor in Bangladesh, especially in the island, and people had no money, especially cash. So it helped a lot to them. So, if I summarize the situation, it was a great experience for us. Even after yesterday, I received the catalog that Ian sent to me. And this morning we had a meeting with all the artists. And when I show them their picture and their quilt, their work in the, in the catalog, in the book, they were so happy. And some of them started crying out of happiness. They're saying, and I made Xerox, the photocopy, all the pictures, and I have given to them. And some of them, they have made, frame. They made a frame. They're talking with, they will make one frame. They will hang in their house, home. So it was a really great experience. It was a great encouragement for our artists, and as well as for all the, volunteers, those who worked in this project. Thank you very much.
Well, that's great. This is one of the many designs that that those ladies produced over here on the right, and it shows the COVID virus gobbling up little fishermen, because river gypsies on Maldives Island, where Shahid works, are very dependent upon the fishing industry, which got slaughtered by COVID because all the markets closed. So there's a lot of good, strong sense of humor in these images as well. Bobby, did you want to say something there?
No, just that I'm really happy that the ladies got to see the catalog. I mean, that's been our experience when we share the catalogs with them. It just emphasizes the importance of the work that they've done and how it's brought people together. So I'm glad it arrived and that you got to share it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a moment, because we have the designer with us. The designer with us on this. All right. Could we all mute if we're participating? Rosemary, would you like to?
Can you come again?
If you'd like to mute. Oh, all right. Let's move on to the next.
So, and I just wanted to say this, of course, is Donna down here. I'm sorry that we didn't have Mary's picture up as well, because they work together as such a wonderful team.
Oh, yes, indeed. Rosemary, thank you, dear. Okay, so this is something that has emerged for us from this work with the quilting and embroidery very, very strongly, and that is that telling your story is enormously empowering, particularly if you are under pressure, as of course people were during the pandemic across the world, North and South. And this is an example of this from Wilmington, North Carolina. So Bobby, would you like to explain this story? I mean, when it's set against the deaths and destruction and everything else, it maybe seems a little bit trivial, but I think it gets across the point of how extraordinarily empowering it is to use embroidery to tell your own story.
Well, it certainly was. And this is a story of one of our youngest contributors. That's Sadie and her mom, Dorothy. And Sadie, who's a very outgoing young woman, was not able to celebrate her 4th birthday. So COVID was having an impact on her as well. But she and her mom sat down and they discussed, well, can we tell this story, Sadie? What would you like to say about it? So they created this block. They actually did 2 blocks, but they created this block to share with all of the people who could not come to the birthday party, to show how they managed to still celebrate during this time. And it made both of them feel better. And that's what we found with many of these stories, was it gave people a sense of being able to say, COVID doesn't own me, this is what I'm doing. So it was therapeutic in many, many instances to tell that story.
Let's ask someone maybe who, one of the artists, if they would agree with that. Karen from Nairobi is one of the leaders of this project. Did you find that as well, Karen, that telling your story through embroidery helped you during the pandemic?
Hi, once again. If I can recall very well, during the COVID pandemic, we were doing the quilt. And actually, it was very therapeutic during that time, because most of us, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. Yeah, most of us didn't have jobs. So we had time to come together and share our stories. and also like comfort each other during that time. It was really difficult. Yeah.
Thanks, Karen. Indeed. And Bobby, thanks for that. We've just been joined by Sarita Thapa from Central Nepal, which is great. Prabal, could you tell Sarita that we're very pleased to see her on this call, and we will be coming back to their quilt in a few minutes, if you wouldn't mind doing that, because we are not very good in the Nepali language. Maybe Prabal can contact Sarita. Okay, so let's move down to the next. The other thing about this stitching and quilting and embroidery is that it's a social activity. Now, we've said this many times, haven't we? And Bobby, you should take over here. But I'm always impressed when I talk to quilters about how good it feels to come together as a group. And the expression that you guys use is bitch and stitch, I think, isn't it, Bobby? Is that the one that we? But there, a lot of people, took advantage of this opportunity, and again, to come together, often outside, wearing a mask, was very, very empowering for people. And Bobby is up here on the top left, working with ladies in northern Uganda. So Bobby, I think this would be your sense as well, wasn't it? It's a social activity.
Absolutely. In this particular picture, we did our stitching in northern Uganda under this beautiful mango tree, and we all sat around a table. And while the women that we work with had very difficult stories to tell, at the same time, we were able to find humor in our lives in the sharing that went on. We learned from each other. I can tell you that they learned tricks ahead of me that they shared, so I learned from them as well as them learning from me. But it was such a special time. And one of the ladies at the very end said, this was the best she has felt in a group setting for such a long time. She didn't know when. We all left with a sense of strengthened connections with one another, and that we had really worked together to accomplish something. I have to say, it was very moving for me, as I think it was for many of these women.
Yeah. Victoria, you're calling in from Uganda. You're coordinating that group of ladies in northern Uganda that Bobby was talking about. Was this also your impression that stitching as a group was very good for the kind of common sense of the sort of, it helped to build friendships between your ladies?
Yeah, thank you so much, Ian. Thank you, team, everyone on call. First, before I respond to that, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Advocacy Project for the support to WOW. I did remember that moment when Bobby was with the women. They talked and talked. So what did we learn from this? We have realized that embroidery not only brings the women together, but it is a healing process. Northern Uganda went through war. So every time these women come together and they are speaking, they use that moment as an opportunity to tell the story of what they went through. Some of them continue to say that as they do the stitching, their mind is stuck into what they are doing at that moment. So it relieves them from pain and any other thing that they go through. So stitching, embroidery is really good in bringing people together. It's good in bonding the women together, but also just like Karen from Kenya said, our embroidery project started at the right time. Women were bleeding of pain, what they were going through and so forth. Here comes an opportunity for them to be together, an opportunity for them to do the embroidery, get paid, get some money to go and buy sugar, flour to go and prepare a meal for their children. And it is really a great project, just like Bobby said. I remember how they cried when you were leaving and so forth, but I told them this is not about to leave, it's yet to grow. So it bonds people. It's a healing process. It's a source of income, but also we are seeing many people requesting to join the group just because of the way they see the WOW women born and continue to do their work. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Victoria. Victoria is another of these very inspiring leaders that we are lucky enough to work with. We'll be hearing more from Victoria in a moment. So I just need to let in a couple more people here. So let's go on to the next slide, which is yay. This is a homage to our American quilters. Now, we had 8 quilters sign up for this. Let's see if I can move this down, maybe over here. I'm not sure how many of you are on the call, but it's just amazingly wonderful to see you all, I must say. We have, well, Bobby, you should take us around the group and then maybe introduce some of your quilters. This one particularly important, Mary, because not only is she a board member of our organization, but she also accompanied Bobby to Africa this summer to do some training. This one here, in case you're wondering, is Bobby herself at work. This was the story that she made of herself, busy quilting away for three wonderful quilts that she produced from Wilmington. But Bobby and Mary, over to you guys on this one.
Okay, well, Mary, I do want you to jump in here first, but I'm going to get started. First of all, just to say thank you to all of our quilters, because we really could not do this without you. You're such an important part of the whole process. Let me introduce you to some of these ladies. We seldom have a chance to come together. We have with a couple of the sister artists exhibitions, as well as the COVID quilt exhibition a couple of weeks ago. But we are sisters connected, certainly by this wonderful Zoom. Up in the top left here, we have Ann Watson, who is a good friend of mine here in Wilmington. Ann did the Nepal quilt. She's a very talented, innovative kind of artist. And she actually contracted COVID during that first year, and I'm sure she wouldn't mind my saying, she's still recovering. She lost her sense of taste and smell. But she found that working on this quilt helped her to understand how fortunate she was to get the care that she did when she got it. So she was quite sick, but she's recovered very well. Below her, we have a dynamic duo here. This is Susan Lewis and Janice Ewing, and they did the second Kenya quilt. Susan put everything together and Janice did the quilting on it. And I've had the pleasure of meeting both of them in person. And we move over to Joan Taylor. Joan Taylor is an old buddy of mine who willingly agreed to take on this quilt when I was thinking, oh, we have another quilt to be done. Who can I ask again? Joan lives in Ohio, but we get together frequently for quilting. And I have to say that with these blocks, when we had them, we were meeting together in Rhode Island with another friend, and I brought the blocks out, and both Joan and my other friend Joan were so touched by the stories that they saw. And Joan jumped in right away and said, yes, of course, I will do this for you. Then there's Colleen in that lovely pink vest. Colleen is from Wisconsin. She and I have talked on the phone many, many times. Colleen did this beautiful quilt behind me here. This is from Zimbabwe, and such a masterful job. I hope, Colleen, are you on? I hope you're here today.
I don't know that she is. She's certainly registered.
Okay, then next to her is, sorry, my computer just did something weird here. Hang on. That's Donna, right?
Yeah, hope it is. That's Donna.
Yes, there we go. That's Donna, whom you've just met a little while ago. Donna and I met at the Quilt Guild here in Wilmington, North Carolina, and little did she know that when you get to know Bobby Fitzsimmons, you might end up getting roped into something really wonderful. So she and Mary Harnett, her sister, were just great, and they did an incredible quilt. Their talent is quite evident when you see the quilt itself. And then we have Mary May. What can I say about Mary May? Mary has been an Advocacy Project quilter from way back. She's so innovative, so productive, so talented. And to have her join me in Africa this summer was truly a gift. She was a wonderful instructor on those sewing machines, which were new to everyone. And just
including me. Especially the
Well,
industrial machines were quite
huge. Those were interesting, weren't they?
Well, look, let's hear maybe a little bit from Mary, because Mary, you have a lot of people on this call who worked with you in Nairobi. I mean, we have a terrific attendance from Nairobi. I mean, here's an opportunity for you to say hi to them and anything else you'd like to say as well.
Yeah. Well, I kind of gave a little shout out to Harriet, my little buddy that was offering to trace everybody's designs onto the fabric for them with the little LED panel thing that I found. So I hope she was able to get that afterwards. But it was just such a pleasure to work with everybody there. They were so enthusiastic and warm and welcoming, and it was, it was just a really good experience to be able to work with them. At least until I got COVID. And then everything came to a screeching halt for a few days. But I was still able to work on stuff like making kits for the ladies to make the tote bags from too. So at least I was still able to do something productive while I was in quarantine there. So
yeah, we should say that Mary contracted COVID while she was in Nairobi for the training, which was really very, very unpleasant and awful, but she sort of rose to the occasion as always.
She never gave up. She
gave up and helped to build some really firm friendships. Where's Maureen gone on this screen? I was wondering, who was it you were referring to? Yes, okay. Okay, let's go back to sharing the screen for a moment. And Bobby, do you want to round off with any comments about this strange person up here?
Oh, the one in the middle?
Yeah.
Just that I sometimes feel I'm one of the luckiest people around, that I get to work with all of these embroiderers around the world, with all of these wonderful quilters, and to know that we're all working together to make the world a better place. For me, this is a gift to get to do what I do, to get to know all of you. So I thank each and every one of you. We just sat down and shared stories from our quilts that we've made, our embroideries that we've done, figuring things out. When it got complicated, we would probably be here the rest of the afternoon, but I just want to say thank you to everyone who's taken the time to be here today, as well as everything that you've done to this point to support us. You make it happen.
Would anyone else, any other quilters from the US, like to kind of use the opportunity to connect to the ladies? Joan, you have Victoria on the line, and she coordinated that group down in Uganda, the quilt that you put together, a really amazing quilt. Is there anything you'd like to share with her, or maybe get her feedback too?
I also wonder, or I have one thing I would like to ask Bobby, is when you did your quilt or your block, how come you didn't put a scarf on yourself? We always see you in a scarf.
I didn't want to mess it up too much. All of those masks I thought were decoration enough.
Yeah.
But Constance, I do like to thank you for all the work that you are doing with the ladies in your group. And I was happy to help Bobby out doing the quilt of the COVID occurrences and struggles and minor victories that people had in Uganda. And I had seen prior quilts, obviously, from knowing Bobby, and was a little bit intimidated about how I could do something as important and as impactful as other quilters have done on prior projects. And I zeroed in on the colors because they were the colors of the flag. And I thought that was important to help identify that group of people and where they were in the world and in our global environment and what they had to go through.
Great, thank you so much. Constance, Colleen is in Wisconsin, and she assembled your Zimbabwe quilt. Rosemary, as well, you contributed a very powerful story to that quilt. I don't think she's on this call, Constance, but she became very committed. I'm just going to come out here, very committed to your work down at WAP, at the Women's Advocacy Project in Zimbabwe. Are you on the call now, Constance? Did you have anything to say about that? Maybe she's popped off the call for a moment.
Let's see.
Yes, yes, I'm wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity. For us, it was a quite an interesting experience, whereby the girls were describing how COVID has affected so many lives here in Zimbabwe, especially women and girls. Their stories were based on showing women being arrested for not wearing masks and so forth. Basically, all their squares were portraying the struggle they faced during the COVID period. They were really loved to share their experiences through embroidery, and it was a good experience, learning stitches from each other and have fun too. And sharing the experiences, it was really helpful to them. And as girls, they were comforting each other that COVID will not stay long. It will pass, and there is more life after COVID. I would like to take this opportunity to AP and the team for initiating this event. I've seen girls comforting each other, spending time together, sharing stories. It was really a good experience. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Constance. Well, look, a lot of people have come in and joined since the beginning when we introduced this event. For those of you who've only joined recently, we're telling the story of COVID and of this embroidery project in particular, but we're also trying to connect people, put a face to the names. Those of you who made COVID stories in Africa, and some of the quilters who assembled those stories into quilts here in the United States. And we just heard from Constance, who heads the group in Zimbabwe that we've worked with for several years. We heard from Prabal earlier, and from Shahid in Bangladesh, Manu in India. As I said earlier at the beginning, we've got people from 8 or 9 different countries here on the call, which is fantastic. And I just see that Sabina joined from Nairobi, which is really kind of wonderful. Hi, Sabina. We spent quite a lot of time in Africa this summer. Bobby and Mary and myself were all out there, and we really made some, I think, reinforced some very good friendships there. And we have Jill from Nairobi as well. Hi, Jill, who is an absolutely essential contact. Okay, let's go back to our presentation. Sorry if anyone's feeling dizzy, and to the next slide, which is here. And I'm going to move this back over here. So what we do when we build a partnership with a new group is we try and recruit a graduate student from the United States to go out and partner with the local group, spend the summer. And we have sent out over 350 people through the years. And the last to go out was Caitlin from George Washington University, who can't be here, unfortunately, for the meeting, but does send her love and regards to everyone that she knew in Nairobi. Here she is working with Stella in Kibera, risking her life on the boda bodas, which are these relentless taxis. And then on the right, helping at the embroidery session, as you can see, making her own piece of embroidery, and just really outstanding contribution that she made. So again, thank you to Caitlin and to all the other graduates and Peace Fellows who've helped to build these partnerships.
We certainly appreciated Caitlin's assistance this summer. She was just there for anything that we needed. And often dashing off here and there because we forgot black thread or she needed to go and pick up something else for us, but she was always there with a smile on her face. And I
Right.
think the ladies loved her as much as we did.
Absolutely. Veena, you just joined us. Several friends from Nairobi just joined us. As we were saying earlier, we're going through this COVID storytelling project that you've contributed to, but we're also trying to put it into the context, the larger context of the work that we do with embroidery. Now, as you know, when you make stories and they get assembled by our friends here in the States, we then exhibit the quilts at exhibitions. And we had a big exhibition here in Washington last week at the Textile Museum, which is one of the foremost museums in the country, if not the world. It was very well attended. We were extremely pleased with the outcome. Constance, you see your quilt here, and Prabal, you can see the Nepal quilt in the background. People obviously very interested. This was the head of the UN Population Fund, Dr. Cannon, who came in and was very impressed. She's seen with Bobby here discussing the Wilmington quilt. It was made by girls from Wilmington here in the States.
Oh, that was the Arlington quilt, Ian.
Sorry, Arlington. I'm going to try and move this pesky little box here if I can. Karen in Nairobi, I don't know if you can see this, but your story of trying to keep the COVID virus at bay was much discussed and analyzed. I hope this is a professor of art and not a psychologist, but anyway, he was very interested. And we also had an address from Vashti Lechuta at the Kenyan embassy here in Washington. And as a result of these embroidery projects, we have built a very strong relationship with the Kenyan embassy, which we will be drawing on to see if we can get their support for other projects that all of you are engaged in. So another, I think, byproduct of this approach. Now, let's get back to this connecting with the North and South, which we're kind of passionate about at the Advocacy Project. As you know, we've had several of these quilting events, which are aimed at bringing artists from the South, particularly Africa, together with quilters in the North. And you remember the Sister Artist Project. So Sabina, you just joined this conversation. This is Donna over here, who assembled your story there, your elephant, into this rather fine quilt. That was last year. This year, this is Agnes from Kibera. Agnes, are you there? Can we get you onto this discussion? It's a little bit challenging for our friends in Africa because the internet connection is often not very good. But let's see if we can find Agnes. And this is Susan, who was one of the quilters who assembled Agnes's story, which was one of the stories that Susan put together for the second COVID quilt. So lots of connections being made through these projects. And I'm going to see if I can find Agnes, because I know she joined us, and see if she's still with us. Agnes, are you still with us? I don't think I see her. Anyway, doesn't matter. Stella, Agnes, a good friend of yours. Can you maybe talk on behalf of Agnes? It's not fair for Agnes, but
thanks. Maybe I can call in Vena, because Vena is also in the group. Vena, can you step in and
Giggle, giggle. I see you up there.
Yes, Vena, you can talk for Agnes. But Vena, you also have made stories, COVID stories, and I don't think I can connect you to the quilter without going and doing a little bit of research here, and that would take too much time.
I can tell you which quilter.
Yeah. All right, Bobby. Well, this, by the way, I think this is Agnes, is it not, Stella? Is this Agnes?
Yes.
So Agnes is a very, key to this project in Nairobi. And Susan, we're going to lose no opportunity to kind of make this personal connection if we can. And I'm just sorry that Agnes can't be here to talk to you in person, but she will be back. Okay, let's move on. Time is moving on. Now, here's a very, very important part of this whole project, and that is, it's not just about storytelling and embroidery. We want, if possible, to encourage you when you're doing these, so I'm just letting people in here. When you're doing these stories, we want to encourage you to think of this as being the beginning of a process. And many of you participated in this, Shahid in Bangladesh. We were going to get Emma on this call from Uganda. Constance, here you are in all your glory in Zimbabwe. This was an example of how a story evolves into a campaign. And we have Abigail top left. Abigail, are you on this? Are you on this call? Karen, is Abigail on this call? Do you know?
Oh, let me see. Abigail is here.
Abigail, are you there? Let's see if we can get Abigail. That would be a supreme triumph if we can get Abigail on this.
There she is.
Abigail, where are you? Here you are.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Let's see you. Let's talk to you. Can we see you? Yeah, I think she's going to join us here. Well, Abigail, I'm just going to remind you, I told you this in Nairobi when we met, but your story became a sensation. Thanks to Karen and others in the Kangemi group. So what they did for everybody else on this call is they took Abigail's design, they put it onto a t-shirt, and here you see Abigail wearing the t-shirt. They then went out to mobilize people in Kangemi, and here we see Rachel, who is also on this call at the moment. Rachel, great job you did. Fantastic.
Thank you.
You did a really great job. They got people out and they took them to the health center to get them vaccinated. And they got almost 2,000 vaccinations as a result of that campaign in Kangemi, which doesn't have a proper health center. That was a real triumph. And then Constance and her group in Zimbabwe saw that this was a very successful program in Nairobi. They followed suit. They made their t-shirt, their campaign, as did our friends in Uganda and finally in Bangladesh as well. So everybody picked up this idea that they got from Abigail's design. And I also picked it up, by the way. I'll show you this. So Abigail, this is the t-shirt that I wear here in Washington. In total, sorry about this, everyone, I keep sort of introducing people, bringing them in. Here's Agnes and Evelyn. Overall, we got over 10,000 people vaccinated as a result of these different campaigns at very, very little cost. So that showed how a design, an embroidery, can actually trigger a campaign. And I wore Agnes's t-shirt to a meeting at the National Institutes of Health here in Washington, where it was much admired. And as you know, Dr. Fauci used to work at the NIH and was really the sort of one of the heroes of the COVID campaign. So it came full circle for us, and it showed the importance of using embroidery as a catalyst to take action. Now, this is not the only example, because in Kibera, the group that began to tell their stories through embroidery stayed together and formed an association. egged on by this remarkable person, Stella, who's on the call at the moment. And they are now doing something kind of remarkable. And Catherine, I hope that you're also on the call. Stella and Catherine, could you explain what this is all about?
Great.
Stella?
Yes. Thank you very much, Ian. I think we recovered from COVID and we came out strong, and we started a new project that provides nutrition for the women in the project, and also supports the team on waste management and just learning the whole aspect of really being sustainable. And so from our COVID experience, we took ownership of our situation, and we approached AP, and AP was very friendly and supportive and willing to hear us out. So like I said, from that idea, we started growing our own food, and we started composting our household waste. As you know, Kibera is an informal settlement with waste management as a very big issue. And also the challenge of getting healthy, nutritious, and safe food in the slums. And so we gathered together our members. We registered as a community-based organization, and we found within Kibera spaces where we could compost and we could grow our organic produce. And like I said, it's been a journey, and we are enjoying it every day. Thank you, Ian.
Well, look at Stella here in all her glory with this incredible piece of Chinese cabbage that she grew in Kibera. That would have kept her in vegetables for a couple of weeks, I think. We have Catherine on the call over here, so sorry about that. Catherine, are you here? Could we talk to you? Because we would like to, if you're there. Where's Catherine? Catherine. I know you were here earlier, Catherine. And we had a very, very good meeting with Catherine, and a good visit to Catherine. I think she's popped off the call. When I visited Nairobi this summer, and I was super impressed by, sorry, everyone, we're flipping back and forward. But look at the conditions in which these ladies are composting. It's unbelievable. It's tiny houses. And this is Catherine. And it's a remarkably successful project, and we're so proud to be able to support it. Okay, I'm going to go on to the next slide. Now, we're getting close to the end. Another aspect of our embroidery work is the catalogue. And I'm just delighted that we have a key member of our team here for this conversation. I hope you've seen this. We have shared catalogues with all of you. And I brought catalogues down this summer to Africa. Thanks, Bobby. Bobby's picking it up. So here's a picture of the catalogue being read. Here's our good friend Florence, who I think is on this call, hopefully. Lovely picture being read in Nairobi. And here is Victoria in Uganda with the catalogue and two of her team members. You see the T-shirt, the Uganda T-shirt there. Here's Rosemary and Trish in Zimbabwe, on Constance's team. They loved their catalogue and they did the same thing. And here is the gentleman responsible for designing the catalogue. And I'm going to stop sharing and ask Jonathan to join us. Jonathan, I will say that photograph, you have slightly shorter hair in that photograph than you do on the screen. But please talk to us. We enjoyed working with you. You did a fabulous job. And that's 3 catalogues you've done for us now. So what was it like?
It was honestly a remarkable pleasure. It's also very cool to see everyone's faces. I saw all the various, North American artists, African and Asian artists, solely as kind of like JPEG images, but it's actually super cool to see everyone in the flesh, which is very neat. But it was a remarkable experience, and I think a very formative experience. Just seeing how this pandemic, I was upset that it interrupted my graduation, but seeing how this pandemic affected, people all across the global South, Nepal, Uganda, it was a very illuminating and very humbling experience.
Well, thanks, Jonathan. You were great to work with. You're a very talented designer. And now that you've abandoned the US Congress, like many other people, I'm hoping you'll come back and do more catalogs with us. But for those of us on the call from Nairobi, Jonathan is the person who brought all the stories together. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen and move on and introduce you to another key, another key member of our team who has helped to open an online store where many of you are selling products. Now, this is really the end of our presentation. And what we're trying to do now, and this is rather urgent, is to find a way to help all of you in the South earn some money from your stitching. Many of you have become really, really talented and very, very good stitchers in the process of doing these COVID stories and others. And we are enormously pleased about that and proud of it. And as you know, we've been trying to give you an opportunity to sell your embroidery. We have made this online store, which is called Southern Stitchers, which is where we sell embroidery on your behalf. And I am going to stop sharing my screen and invite Abby to join us, because Abby is the one who built this store. Abby, contribute. Here you have everyone who's making embroidery for your store. I mean, it must be great for you to see them on this call.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I think it's so tough because we're such a spread out organization that it's like some people are in Africa making the products and they get to Washington, D.C. and they get posted on the store. And it's so wonderful seeing everyone. I feel like now we can really see all the different steps put together, but it's just been so wonderful seeing how everyone has grown in their embroidery skills. I mean, I've been here for now over 3 years, and I've really seen a lot of people's first attempts at embroidery and now the beautiful, beautiful work that they're coming up with. So it's just been amazing being able to share that with everyone else.
Thanks, Abby. Abby's gone off to law school and we miss her dearly because she did a great job putting that, didn't she? Bobby, sorry, do you want to jump in?
No, just saying, yes, Abby, we miss you so much.
Yeah. Okay. Now, this is important. And I know, Victoria in Uganda, you are particularly interested in this part of it. Now, how are we selling embroidered products? This is very important. There are basically 5 different components to this. One is that we're taking your embroidery and putting it up on the store where people can come to the store and buy it. Now, we did quite well for the first few months, and it's now tailed off a bit. But we're also selling bags. Now, Prabal, I think you're on the call. This is a bag that was made by Sarita in Nepal, part of a series of tiger bags, which are selling quite well. And down here on the right, we have Violet, who is one of many Kenyan artists who have made embroidered bags. Now, Bobby and Mary helped with the training, and we're now trying to sell these bags on your behalf. Mary, how do you think this is going? You managed to sell quite a lot of these recently, didn't you?
I was able to sell 10 of the bags that I brought back from Washington with me, and I could probably sell more if you send them to me, because my local quilt group was interested in the mission trip that I did to Kenya, and you know, it's kind of a souvenir for them to be able to collect these bags. So yeah, it was fun to be able to bring the bags back with me and share them with my other fellow Quilt Guild members. So
yeah, sorry for switching around, and hope again I'm not making people dizzy. This This is one of the bags that was made in Kenya by. We need to mute if we can mute everyone. And we're also taking designs from Nepal and putting them onto dinnerware. We've made a sample plates. As you can see, they're rather nice. Anything to try and figure out a way to earn some money for people. And our latest attempt is here with Bobby. Bobby, do you want to explain what this is all about?
Yes, this is, I'm holding up a tea towel, and actually I have a real one here that I'll get in a moment. But we have taken Naidi Acheng's butterfly design. Naidi is one of our ladies in Uganda, and Mary designed this layout. She made butterflies big and small, but they're all Naidi, same butterfly, and we put them onto a tea towel. And I have to say that people are so excited about this possibility. I have friends asking me, do you have tea towels? Can we buy them now? So we really think that we have found a vehicle to use more of your embroidery and to generate some income for you. This is our very first one. We gave it a try at the exhibition in Washington, and again, people were very, very excited about it. Mary's still working on designs from more of our ladies there in Uganda, but we're ready to go into bigger scale production. That's our hope.
Yeah, I mean, you have to understand, everyone in Africa, the entire continent of Africa in particular, has to understand that we are a very, very small group of people and that we are not very good at selling. I mean, that's not our kind of core competency, but with people like Mary and the team, very creative, we do think that taking some of your designs, and Bobby's got one and I've got one here, and printing them onto fabric and then selling them as tea towels might be a way forward. That we don't want to get hopes too high. Victoria, you had some thoughts about this. I think you emailed me last night. Do you want to say anything about that? Maybe we've lost Victoria.
Oh, I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not too. Anyway, no problem. I'm just going to go back to sharing, and I think that should be the end of our presentation. So you can contact me or Bobby or Mary at AP, and we've kept it to about an hour, which I think is reasonable because people have to get some sleep in Africa and Asia as well.
Right. Well, before we do though, could we just ask Jill Ribello to say a word or two? She has been instrumental in a number of our programs there in Kenya. We'd just like to acknowledge her and to hear a word or two from her.
Unmuting. Well, it's been great to be part of the whole project in Nairobi. We started in 2019, pre-COVID, with our Women's World quilt. Like the rest of the world, we were shattered when COVID arrived and interrupted all our activities, but we managed, like everybody else, to carry on, and the results you will see today. And we've enjoyed having Bobby, especially 3 times, Bobby, is it, I think, now?
Yes.
And Ian a couple of times. Mary visited us, sadly was sick, of course, but we enjoyed her company and we look forward to continuing. Bobby says she's not coming again, but I'm hoping she's going to change her mind.
She'll be back.
Anyway, we've really enjoyed it, all the ladies here, and it's been taken on board and they're running with it. So I'm very happy. And if we can get the online shop going, I think that would be great. Well, it's going, but if we can continue it, I think that'll be great. Great encouragement.
Yeah, if I can just jump in for a minute too. I just want to remind everyone to go to southernstitchers.org and try to do some of your holiday shopping, or if you're a maker, makes things from what we have online. And I hope to be able to see the tea towels in the store very soon too, so we can start to ship them out too. So
yeah.
And good teamwork, wonderful teamwork with everybody. So thank you.
Well, let's start to wrap this up. But maybe we can hear a little bit more from our friends in the South. Sabina used to be the baby of the team, but I don't think she's the baby anymore. Are you, Sabina? You still considered the baby of the Kangemi team down there? Is she? There she is.
Hi. Yeah, I still am the baby. We are all growing, so I don't think if there's anyone below my age, so I still am.
Well, it
But
was.
you have a beautiful baby of your own too.
It was so nice to see you in Nairobi, Sabina, and you've become a very talented stitcher, and very much, you know, we look forward to working with you in the future. And Victoria in Uganda.
Yes,
Yes, thanks for joining and staying on. I know it's late up there. Did you see that presentation about the tea towels that Bobby just gave? Did you get that?
Yeah, thank you so much. I saw at the time you called me, my laptop froze a bit. That's why I couldn't join, but I'm here to say thank you so very much. I can't wait to meet the women and show them what is really the new development that has come up. But more so, I want to take this opportunity to thank the great quilters for making this a reality. You can never know how you're impacting the lives of women around the world. Most of them say you may not meet them, but just the deeds you do, and then they get to be firm, positive-minded, supporting their family is one good enough. Bobby here, and have seen her be on call. Thank you so very much. It started small, but seeing great women around the world on call and seeing the US quilters on call, joining us for this one love as a family is all. I can imagine, I can't imagine how far we are going to go with this, but as women of war, we are committed to giving our very best to this because the result is real. There's nothing like concocting the story, it is just reality. So thank you so very much.
Well, thanks very much, Victoria. I mean, you're a key part of this whole network. Manu, you're in India where it's very late and you've been very patient. Manu heads an organization called Lifeline, which picked up on the COVID campaign last year, actually picked up from Shahid's work. Shahid, once you in Bangladesh, once you launched your COVID campaign, Manu read about it and they started their own campaign. And he is now supporting a very ambitious program to eliminate or eradicate malaria from 10 tribal villages in India. So Manu, I hope that, you know, watching this presentation has given you some ideas about how embroidery and storytelling can be an important part of empowering communities like the tribal villages that are outside the mainstream of society.
Yeah, I got all the idea. Actually, we had little idea about this embroidery and quilt projects earlier, but now it gives me the clear picture how to develop the embroidery projects for malaria, for pregnancy, for other diseases also.
Yeah.
So it's a great work you have all done. Okay, thank you so much.
It takes a village, as somebody once said. I don't know who that was. I can't remember. But anyway, and it all comes from people like, you know, Abigail, who uses her sort of skill and sense of humor. There are many ways that we can use these designs, as I hope we've explained. There's so many of you on this call. There's Vina, there's Florence, there's Louise, Pauline, Abigail, Roseanne, Rachel. Rachel, it was so nice to see you in Nairobi. Sabina, obviously, and so many others on this call. Would anyone like to say anything before we finish? We hope this event would help to connect you and help you to see who else has been involved in this project. We also hope to get more catalogues to you in due course. And we hope to talk to you about your embroidery as well. But would anyone like to say anything and contribute? Have any questions for us? Roseanne, how about you down there in Nairobi?
I've never known these ladies to be this quiet this long.
Well, it might be that we've just kind of exhausted them, but I hope not. Harriet, you're the photographer down there. Would you like to chip in?
Hi everyone. Personally, I would love to appreciate each and every one of you, from Ian, Bobby, Mary, and the rest of the team. Thank you so much. We really had fun. And it was an honor. We are always down for learning and having you come back again and teach us new things, and also meeting the Advocacy Project. The rest, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Harriet.
Thanks, Harriet. But let us say, Harriet, that when we come and visit you, we learn as much from you as you learn from us. In fact, probably more. The way we work is it's very much building partnerships in which both partners make a contribution. I think coming to Africa, hanging out with you, and Harriet, we're still using your photographs, and we will continue to use them.
Good photos.
So, and I see Modesta there, and Florence and Rachel. Rachel, it was fantastic to meet you in Nairobi as well, and you were such an important part of that campaign, that COVID campaign.
Hello. Thank you so much.
You're amazing. You're amazing, Rachel. You were absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much. And I'm appreciating everyone. I appreciate Karen for choosing me as a person with disability on advocacy group. And it has also made me learn that people with disability can do anything and can work in the community. Well, I was happy to meet Bobby, Mary, Ian, and this made a change in my life. Thank you.
Well, you changed our lives as well, Rachel. And I think a special thanks in Nairobi to Stella and Karen, who got their two groups of stitchers together, formed associations, and have led them by example to take on and move into these extraordinary social programs that we're very happy to support. So Stella and Karen, you get a medal and a sort of combined round of applause from us, I think.
Hello. Hello, Ian.
Roseanne, yes.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi, Roseanne. We're very, very pleased to see you and talk to you again.
Yeah, now you're talking with Ruth.
Oh, right. Yes, I see now. It's Ruth. Good to see you.
This is Ruth. We are a team here. I am with Anne Motei, Esther, and Frida, and Roseanne.
Frida's there
my
too.
goodness.
And Rehema, Margaret. Yeah.
Goodness me.
Yes.
It's
We just
wonderful.
want to appreciate the meeting.
Well, we appreciate you joining us. Any excuse for a party, right, ladies?
Yeah. Have you seen us? We are here.
Yes,
All of
yes,
us.
we can see you.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we are.
Well, we so admire you all. I mean, you're very good artists, and you know you're extraordinary members of that community. And I don't know, I can't speak for Bobby and Mary, but I certainly enjoyed meeting you all, and your stories are very inspiring. These are some of the ladies who contributed to the albinism quilt, and are now deep into composting, aren't you, in your houses, composting all that food waste in your houses.
Yes.
And Stella's cracking the whip, right? She's getting you in line, making sure that you do everything you're told to. Is that right, Stella?
That's not true, Ian.
Come on.
But I'm enjoying the process, and thank you very much. Really, really appreciate it.
Well, you have a fabulous team, Stella, and honestly, we are very committed to that project and to continuing to work with you. You know, we have Sarita on the call from Nepal. She does not, unfortunately, speak English. But Prabal, if you're still on the line, maybe you could just let her know that we have discussed her fantastic stories from Nepal. And again, that's a group of young women who lost their fathers during the conflict in Nepal. We've been working with them for several years. They are incredibly good fiber artists. Let's see who else we've got here. If there's someone else who deserves a special member. Well, everyone deserves a special mention.
Absolutely.
But Bobby, I would suggest that unless somebody else would like to jump in, we've been running for an hour and a quarter now. It's very late in Africa and even later in Asia.
Can I say something, Ian?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
I would just like to say, from a participant at the end of any project, it's been very moving to see the faces of those across the globe. And especially, Ian, for you to have thought of this, to have put your efforts and your time to bring this to fruition and coordinate with Bobby and Mary now and others in the past and the graduate students that are your support group. I'm just very honored.
Well, it's very nice of you to say that, Joan, and I will just say what I said earlier, and that is that we're talking to friends. We have over 40 people on this call from 8 or 9 different countries, and we consider every one of you to be a very close friend. And there is nothing so rewarding in life as friendship, particularly when you're going through a difficult time and you're under pressure. So I think, you know, we all owe you a debt of thanks. We've produced, I think, a lot of really great stuff through this quilting program over the years, and everybody's contributed. So my message to Roseanne and Louise and Florence and everyone else is
I'm Rehem, I'm requesting if you can
stay at
request
it.
your
Yes,
number.
please contribute, jump in. Yep. Was that Karen? Who's requesting?
That was Rehema. I think she was saying something.
Oh, Rahima, yeah.
Yes, I'm requesting if you can share your number again.
Share my number. Yes, I will send everybody this presentation as a PowerPoint, as a PDF, so you can open it easily. And you remember, you can find all of the profiles of your stories on our website and the catalogue. For those of you who would like to buy a catalogue, that's easily done. Just contact me or Bobby or Mary. And we will be in touch with all of you. We will be following up after this meeting. So unless there's any final words from people, Stella, Karen, you're the coordinators down in Nairobi, Victoria in Uganda, Shahid in Bangladesh. Unless there's any final comment or suggestion, I would propose that we end the meeting, and then you guys in Nairobi in Asia can get some sleep, which you probably need.
I have something to say. I just want to thank the Advocacy Project team for the support that they have given to us. Don't worry, I know I'm still in the office. I'm about to leave the office. It's Sunday and I was working. So I'm so grateful and I'm happy for everything. Thank you so much.
Well, Karen, you're amazing, and your work ethic is a model for us all. Well, we've had a great time on this meeting, and it's just reminded me how much we appreciate your company and your friendship. And it makes me, Bobby and Mary, I don't know if you'd agree, and Abby and other friends from our core team, it makes me more determined than ever to continue and make sure that we do whatever we can to support your incredible work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love you all.
Yeah, love you all. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. We will be in touch, and have a great rest of the weekend. And again, many thanks for participating and all your great work.
Everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
and
you.
bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Nice to see you.
Bye.
Bye.
Sasa mimi atasikia.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.